Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Beth. I am a 36-year-old attorney living in the DC area with my husband. And for today's video, I'm going to be comparing the Kosas Revealer Concealer to the Wet n Wild Mega Last Incognito Concealer. So neither of these products are new, but I tried this Wet n Wild concealer for the first time about a week ago when I filmed my Wet n Wild Bloomin' or Cherry Blossom video. And when I was applying it during that video, it struck me as being very similar to the Revealer concealer from Kosas. So with Kosas coming out with a new Revealer foundation next week, they're definitely, I think, capitalizing on the popularity of this concealer. I thought it would be a good time to film this video comparing the two. So I'll share some of the basic information about each of these. I'll show you some comparison swatches in like a top-down format, and then I will apply one shade underneath one eye and one shade underneath the other. And it's already about 3:30 on a Sunday afternoon as I'm filming this, so it's not going to be quite an all-day wear. I might be able to squeeze in an 8-hour wear test, but I will check in before I wash off my makeup today to let you know how each of them wore. So let's start with the Kosas concealer, because if you're looking for a dupe of a product, you're probably looking to replace this product. So this is the Kosas Revealer Super Creamy and Brightening Concealer and Daytime Eye Cream. I think the whole skincare and makeup trend is definitely here to stay for the foreseeable future. This product has been out for a while, and Kosas likes to market themselves as makeup for skincare freaks. So this is a clean at Sephora product, if that is important to you. On the Sephora website, it has 4 out of 5 stars with 1,500 reviews. On the Kosas website, it has 4 out of 5 stars with 818 reviews, so pretty similar there. This retails for $28, and you get 0.20 fluid ounce or 6 milliliters. You can also purchase from the Kosas website one of these sampler cards. So this is the first half of the shade range. As you can see, they have another one for the second half, and I believe these retail for $5, but you do get a credit to be used on a full-size product. So if you just want to try out some of the different shades, this is a good way to go. So I had picked this up when they had expanded their shade range, and you can see I did try the lightest shade, which is now 0.5N, and I did end up purchasing that from them as well. So I do have 2 different shades. I have the 1.5C shade that I originally purchased, and now I have the 0.5N. And again, I will have swatches so you can see those close up. So this concealer comes in a total of 28 shades, and 28 shades are available on both the Sephora and the Kosas website. With some products, like I'll talk about with the Wet n Wild concealer, they'll have a more limited shade range on different retailers, like Ulta, for example, but then their brand website will have more shades. So they say that this is a crease-proof, medium coverage, super creamy concealer, eye cream, and spot treatment in one that visibly brightens and helps reveal better looking skin. So the idea is with the skincare type ingredients, you will improve your skin over time. It's supposed to have a radiant finish, and this is basically for all skin types, including normal, dry, combination, and oily. And their highlighted ingredients, they say it has caffeine and pink algae extract. Those help fight dark circles, puffiness, and dullness. It has hyaluronic acid and peptides to help hydrate and visibly plump for supple, juicy skin. And it also has arnica and panthenol that are the ultimate skin calming tool for blemishes and redness. So this is an under eye concealer and an all over concealer. This product is also vegan, cruelty-free, and gluten-free. And they say this concealer is delivered in a skincare base packed with hyaluronic acid, peptides, and caffeine that hydrate, visibly plump, and give a smooth, radiant finish. It covers and reduces the appearance of dark circles, but still fully looks like your skin, and is clean, comfy, and clinically tested. This product is non-irritating, allergy tested, clinically tested, non-comedogenic, and dermatologically tested, so all the tests. It's also formulated without mineral oil, talc, silicones, fragrance, parabens, sulfates, and phthalates. And the first two ingredients are water and caprylic or capric triglyceride. So if you do have any kind of sensitivity to coconut derivatives, just be aware of that. And they say that you can apply this anywhere you want to brighten, highlight, or smooth under eyes, blemishes, or cheekbones. And they say you can swipe or dab the doe foot applicator over skin, then blend using your fingers, a brush, or a sponge. So anywhere, any way you want to use it, pretty much. All right, so let's talk about this Wet n Wild concealer. So this is the Mega Last Incognito All Day Full Coverage Concealer. It has 4.6 out of 5 stars on the Wet n Wild website, where it has 63 reviews. And on the Wet n Wild website, it retails for $5.29. You do get free shipping on orders of $25 or more. I will say that I don't find the Wet n Wild website to be the easiest to navigate, but they do have, I think, more shades available. So there are 21 shades on Wet n Wild. On the Ulta website, it's actually cheaper for some reason. It's $4.99, and there are 4.2 out of 5 stars with 66 reviews, but there's only 8 shades. And I think for non-Diamond members, you get free shipping on orders over $35. So it says, our new Mega Last Incognito Concealer delivers all-day wear and buildable matte, medium to full coverage, so you can get sly on the fly without them ever knowing. This formula is your new undercover agent, fully concealing imperfections without detection under sunlight or spotlight. Even better, Incognito Concealer brings skin crimes to justice with nourishing and hydrating ingredients like shea butter, licorice root extract, and mango seed butter. Lightweight, ultra long lasting, and luxurious in application, our concealer has you completely covered whether you choose all work or all play. Seamlessly blendable, richly pigmented, and also perfect for highlighting and contouring. They'll never crack the endless secrets of the Incognito code. I really appreciate whoever wrote that copy. So to summarize, it's all day, ultra long lasting wear, lightweight, matte, and buildable, medium to full coverage, and it has licorice root extract, shea butter, and mango seed butter. So they do have skincare ingredients, but they are different from those in the Revealer concealer. This is supposed to be matte, whereas the Kosas is supposed to be radiant, and the Kosas is supposed to be medium coverage, and this is supposed to be medium to full. So we'll see how they actually look on the skin. And I found it interesting because it says for the directions to conceal under the eyes, draw a triangle shape from the inner corner of the eye to the outer corner of the nose and blend. And you can also use this product to contour. You can choose a shade 2 tones darker than your natural skin tone and apply from the top of your cheekbone to the center of your cheek and blend. To highlight, you can choose a shade 2 tones lighter and apply it down the center of your nose and the center of your forehead on your cupid's bow and blend. So apparently they haven't been watching how the TikTokers apply concealer these days, but that's okay. So this is also cruelty-free, paraben-free, and vegan. So if cruelty-free and vegan are important to you, both products will deliver on that. This product, however, does contain silicones and fragrance. So if those are ingredients you want to avoid, you'll want to go with the Kosas concealer. Okay, so I think that's it for the overview of the products. I'll turn you over to my prior self now for some swatches. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these shades. So this is a sampler card for the Kosas concealer, and I believe they have 2 different ones. This is the first half, and then they have a second card for the second half. So the shade I initially purchased was 1.5C, and I will swatch that for you. So that is 1.5C, and I think this is the lightest shade with a cool undertone. This is, I think, the lightest shade overall, which is 0.5N. And just to kind of show you what they look like mixed together. So lately I've just been using the 0.5 neutral, but if you did need to add some additional kind of cool undertones to it. You could try to blend in another product. Of course, then you're multiplying the cost and everything as well. Okay, so let's take a look at the Wet n Wild shades. So we can see them compared to the Kosas here in the tube. And I think, like I mentioned, the applicator is very similar. They both have this kind of paddle style, like so. But in the Wet n Wild, I have the shades Fair and Fair Beige. And Fair Beige, I think, has more of a pink undertone to it, and Fair is a little bit more neutral. So I will swatch this next to 0.5N. So this is definitely lighter. I'm not sure whether it's yellower than the Kosas, but it's definitely lighter. And then Fair Beige, I think, is the best kind of shade for me out of any of these. And it's lighter than the 1.5C. I think it's a little bit lighter than the 0.5N, but it's also, I think, like more brightening because it has more of a pink undertone. So that is a good close-up of all of those swatches. And I think you can see a little bit of a difference in texture there. I'll blend out some of this on my arm. So I think the Kosas is a little bit creamier. It seems to have a little bit more of a kind of thickness to it, or radiance. I don't think the Wet n Wild is drawing by any means. So you saw the Wet n Wild swatched against these two here, so this 1.5C, but just to kind of show you if you can kind of see compared to what's in the Kosas sampler. I think for my skin tone anyway, the Wet n Wild definitely has better options. I think they go lighter and pinker, especially towards the lighter end of the range. All right, so let's get on with the demo and applications. Okay, so I already have a corrector applied, and obviously I have some base makeup. So today I used the Charlotte Tilbury corrector under both eyes. In the shade Fair. I always use a corrector, and I've used this for a long while now, so I kind of have a feel for how it works under concealer. And I also used the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator again. I kind of used a mix of porcelain and fair. One's a little bit more pink, one's a little bit more yellow. So I blended those together and applied them all over. And I also used the Kosas Brow Gel in the shade Taupe. And then on my eyes, I used the Glamlight Chocolate Martini palette. I used a combination of vanilla vodka, extra lit, chocolate liqueur, and then I also have some Irish cream, All Night, and I think Girls Night Out as well. So I had purchased this, I think, during Black Friday, but I wanted to make sure to try that out before the new like Kiss palettes launch from Glamlight, so I can kind of get a feel for the formula. Okay, so enough procrastinating here. So like I said, I do have two shades of the Wet n Wild. I think I'm going to use the shade Fair Beige, which is the slightly pinker one. And for Kosas, I think I will be using 0.5N, which is more neutral, but it's also, I think, a bit lighter. So I do have some kind of blemishes and things to cover on my face, so maybe I will try different shades for that. So I think on my right under eye, I will use the Kosas, and both of these have a paddle style applicator, and I like to just kind of put it on like so, and I will kind of take my ring finger and blend, kind of distribute the product. And then I like taking a beauty blender and going in like so. And I'm just kind of taking it down a little bit because I do have a little blemish there, so might as well kind of blend out in that direction. Okay, So that is the Kosas. And then on the left eye, I will use the Wet n Wild in Fair Beige. I'd say it's definitely not quite as radiant as the Kosas, but I would say it's not like a really dry matte, in my opinion. So again, just kind of distributing, and then the sponge will help to shear it out and remove any like excess product. So again, that is the Kosas and that is the Wet n Wild. And I think I'm just gonna let those kind of hang out for a minute so I can show you if there's any kind of immediate creasing. On my face though, I think I'm going to take some of this Kosas 1.5C shade. So the other shade from what I used on my under eye, and just kind of go over some of these blemishes. I think this shade is actually a better match for my face, but if I want to kind of brighten my under eye, I don't know. Depending on what shade of foundation I use, it can read, I think, just a tad dark. Just a little bit more right there. And I do have this blemish up here, so I'll apply the Wet n Wild on that little spot. I am still using the same shade on this one as I did, because the other shade is yellower, but I think it's also a little too light. So I am tapping out a little bit of creasing. I don't expect any concealer to be fully crease proof, especially without powder. I think what I want to do is, because I will often put eyeshadow underneath my lash line to help some of that creasing right underneath, I'm going to do the same today. So I think I'm going to try to avoid powdering underneath, just so you can kind of see what effect that gives. So taking some of that Irish Cream shade on the Sonia G flat definer brush. All right, so I think that is all I'm going to do that will kind of affect the under eye area. But just to give you kind of a good close look, like I said, I think, you know, the effect you get is pretty darn similar. So I'm going to finish off my makeup, but I'll be back to show you the final look before I check in later for the wear test. Okay, so that is the finished look. I'll have everything I used down below in the description box. So I did go over my full face, but not my under eyes, with the Kosas Cloud Set in the shade Airy. This is a very kind of lightweight powder, so it doesn't do a whole lot to mattify or anything, but I do like to go in with a little bit of powder before I apply blush and bronzer and that kind of thing. So it's just about 4 o'clock here. Like I said, I'll try to give you maybe 7 or 8 hours of a wear test, but that is what everything looks like so far. I didn't apply mascara on my lower lashes because I didn't want to interfere with the concealer at all. I use the Clinique Bottom Lash usually, which is a tubing formula. I just opened a brand new tube of it actually, but it can be a good idea to set your under eyes if you are applying mascara to your lower lashes, because if there's any like residual moisture or whatever in the concealer, it could cause, you know, smearing and that kind of thing from your lower lashes. But I decided to just kind of leave it as is for today. So as far as my initial thoughts go, I do think that the Wet n Wild is giving me a little bit more coverage. And for whatever reason, I think that this kind of line here, this hollow underneath my eyes, is a little bit more pronounced on the Kosas side, but I don't think this one was kind of overly dry or hard to blend out or anything, so I think I prefer the Wet n Wild, honestly. And as far as shade goes, like these two shades look pretty similar on the eyes. I didn't want to do this kind of weird test when I was going to be going out because I was worried that one would look a lot more yellow or something, but I don't know, I think I'm liking the Wet n Wild more. What do you guys think? So yeah, so that's it for now. I will check back at the end of the night. Okay, so it is the end of the night. I did make it to midnight. So this is 8 hours later. As you can tell, obviously the lip gloss wore off and I am looking pretty shiny in my T-zone. So I'm just going to quickly powder that area of the face. I haven't touched up anything else. You know, so I did eat dinner and I've been drinking water in the intervening 8 hours, that kind of thing. I'm going to reapply. Okay, so let's talk about the concealer. That's what we're here for after all. So some interesting developments here. Let's go ahead and zoom in. So again, the Wet n Wild side is this side and the Kosas side is this side. And honestly, I think both look pretty good for not being set with powder. There's some subtle creasing under both eyes, but again, I don't expect any concealer to kind of be completely crease proof, especially without powder. As far as how they look, so I think the Wet n Wild side, it almost looks like there is some kind of gathering in the crease lines. I can kind of see areas where there isn't any product because it's gathered. On the Kosas side, I don't think that's quite as obvious. I can still see some of the product gathering in those lines, but it's really not terrible, especially when I'm not like pulling on my under eyes. And if I'm at like a conversational distance with someone, I don't think you would really be able to tell on either eye. I think the Kosas side might look a little bit fresher, but then it is also, I think, a little bit more reflective. So that might come down to kind of which finish you prefer. So I think I might do a second day wear test, as I always seem to do. And this time I think I will end up setting the concealer. So I don't think either side looks bad. You can let me know if you prefer one over the other. I think both are looking actually pretty good for 8 hours of wear without being set with powder. So I guess I'll be checking in again with you guys tomorrow and showing you both sides with powder. Okay, so I am back for day 2. I can't leave well enough alone. And to start off with, I haven't applied the concealer yet, but I have applied the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator again today. I think I just went with the fair shade, which is the slightly more yellow. And I also have the Charlotte Tilbury corrector on again, the Kosas Brow Gel. But for my eyes today, I did go with the Flower Beauty and Charlie's Angels palette. I did a swatch video of this, but I did want to try it out on the eyelids. And I used a combination of, I think I've Come Undone, Good Morning Charlie, and Independent Woman. I'm not sure if I used this matte shade or not. There's 4 mattes. And then I used Angel's Eye and Fast Everything, I think, in the outer corner. So enough about that. I will link that video again if you are curious. But let's pick up with the concealer here. So I will probably use the same shades I did yesterday. So that is 0.5N from Kosas on my right eye and the Wet n Wild Fair Beige on my left eye. And my application technique for the concealer will be similar. The only difference is that I do plan to apply powder today. And I might go ahead and put some of that Clinique Bottom Lash on as well, which is generally pretty good about not smudging. And luckily my blemishes are not quite as pronounced today as they were yesterday. Okay, so for my under eyes, I'm going to set with the by Terry powder. This is their little travel version. And I have a Wayne Goss number 2 brush. I'm not sure if he still makes this particular brush still. I think it was part of his like original launch. So making sure that that is all blended out and then just tapping like so. All right, and then like I said, for the other eye, using the Fair Beige from Wet n Wild. And it's about 1:30 today. So I might be able to get a 10-hour wear test. See what time I feel like going to bed today. Okay, so that is the Wet n Wild. And again, same brush, same powder, and pressing that in. And like I did yesterday, I do like to take a little bit of shadow. It's more just to help creasing than anything, so I'm just going to go in with that I've Come Undone shade, which is pretty light. And this is a Sonia G flat definer brush. And then for the Clinique bottom lash, has a very tiny little wand. And okay, so that is it for the concealer. Again, that is the Kosas side and that is the Wet n Wild side. So that is it for the finished makeup. Again, I used the same products I did yesterday and everything will be linked down below. I'm not going to apply a lip gloss because it is my lunch hour while I'm working from home and it wouldn't stay on very long. So yeah, so it is 1:38 if you want to be exact, and I'll check in at the end of the night to let you know how things fare. Okay, so it is, what time is it? It is 10:50 at the end of the night. So I think that puts us at almost 7 hours, give or take. So I am ready to wash my face and go to bed, but here I am for the check-in. So again, the Wet n Wild side is on this under eye and the Kosas side is on that under eye. I did powder my face just a moment ago with the Charlotte Tilbury powder again, just to take down some of the shine around the perimeter of my face, but I haven't kind of done anything with the under eye area. Get as close in as I can. I did take off my nail polish. So again, that's the Wet n Wild and that is the Kosas. So honestly, I can't tell a significant difference. I think any differences are probably just due to the different creases I have under each eye. I don't think that the way the product has settled is really any different. But you guys can certainly let me know if you think one eye looks better than the other. I think, again, for the price and the coverage and the shade range, I do prefer the Wet n Wild. But if you do want to avoid silicones or fragrance, like I said, the Kosas would be the way to go. So that's gonna do it for this video. I think I've given both of these as fair a shot as I possibly could. Let me know what you think down below, if you have tried either or both of these. And until next time, I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.